Alright, the best way. What is the best way to start dreadlocks? Is it towel rub, sponge rub, brush rub? To be honest, I didn't even know this was a method, but apparently it is. Twisting with gel. Oh wait, hold up. I can't do that with my hair. Twisting with gel, comb coils. Oh snap. Crochet hooking, 2-strand twists. As you can see, there's a lot of methods. I probably can't even name them all right now. It'll probably take too long. And you're probably tired of seeing me on the floor, so let's get on the couch. Alright, so we have all these methods plus even more. And some people are on YouTube and they don't know where to start. I'm gonna be telling y'all the best method for you specifically. Because the best obviously is subjective. I can't tell you what my favorite method is and be like, that's the only way you have to do it, that's the best way. So anyways, I'll get into the criteria like I usually do. I feel like the biggest criteria is how do you want your dreads to look? Do you want them to look really maintained, somewhat messy, absolutely messy? Do you not care how your hair looks? Do you just want it to form however it wants to? Do you want them to be thick? Do you want them to be skinny? Do you want them to look like mine? I'm gonna tell you, here's the method you should do if you want your hair to look really maintained and nice and neat and clean. And that is the twisting with gel method / comb coil method, which it really is the same, but you don't even have to use gel really, you just have to use a comb, or you don't even have to use a comb really, you could just use your fingers if you want. All you need is water and fingers. You only need one really. You just want to twist your hair up while it's damp, or while it has oils, or while it has gel. But you can also twist it up with the comb. And you can do all this stuff for yourself. You don't need a loctician or anybody. You don't need to drop $80 to have somebody do your hair for you. And don't worry, doing this is very easy. All you need to do is look at tutorials on YouTube. But if you want your dress to look very nice and maintained and neat, that's the method for you. I don't think there's really any better method than that to get your hair looking very nice and neat. And with that, you can pretty much control how thick you want your dreads. You can either take a big section of hair and twist it up, or a skinny section of hair and twist it up. Pretty easy to choose the thickness of your dreads. But if you want your dreads to look thick, I'm not talking about wicks. If you want wicks, that's like a whole nother video, alright? That's like a whole nother thing. But if you want somewhat thick or really thick dreadlocks, then you could do 2-strand twists, which basically, if you don't know what 2-strand twists are, pretend my hair was not in dreads. You would take 2 strands of hair and just twist them together like this, and it should stay together if you use some type of water, or if you use oil, or even, you know, gel. And it will stay together, in that twisted up form. And all you would need to do from there is let your hair lock up. Now, just because you do a 2-strand twist doesn't mean it's going to be thick. You do obviously have to take thick strands of hair and twist them together. But usually 2-strand twist dreadlocks end up being thick. And the key is, the skinnier you want your dreadlocks, the more dreadlocks that you're going to have on your head. But the thicker you want your dreadlocks, the less dreadlocks you're going to have on your head. But if you want your hair to kind of look messy, then that's when you do the method I do. Actually, I'm going to tell y'all what I did later, because I did a lot of things. But I'm going to tell you how I started out. It's with sponge rub. Most of y'all probably know what the sponge does, right? It creates little twists on your head. The longer you do it, the more it'll be twisted up. And basically, if you just keep on doing this every day for about 10 minutes a day constantly, within about 3 to 4 months, your hair will be locked up. It'll be in that stage. And boom, you have dreadlocks by using a piece of, by using some foam. And that kind of creates a kind of a messy look, but it does look really cool if that's the look you're going for. It's also kind of like afro dreads, where it's an afro but kind of like dreads at the tip. If that's what you're going for, then sponge rub or towel rub, which is basically the same thing, but I think sponging works way better, then that's the method for you. Also, there's a brush method and it works the same way. Just rub the brush around your head and you can get dreadlocks. Now, it's not the easiest to control the thickness of your dreads with this method, but I recommend, if you want thicker dreadlocks, to get the sponge with the bigger holes and go in bigger circles around your head. But if you want skinny dreadlocks, this is what I did, and I have the smaller holes, and I went in really small circles. You know, then I went all around my head in really small circles, and that's how I got my dreadlocks so skinny. And the same goes with the other two. You know, they pretty much all work the same. But if you want your dreads to look absolutely wild, you don't care what they look like, and you're ready for the journey, you just want to go through the process and everything, then I would recommend that you choose Freeform. Now, how come I don't have anything in my hands for Freeform, right? Isn't sponge Freeform? No, sponge isn't Freeform. People call the sponge Semi-Freeform because usually people twist their hair and then let it do what it it does. But even if you're using sponge, that isn't semi-freeform. Your hair is only considered semi-freeform if you're letting your hair freely form after you sponge your hair and you're not twisting your hair or doing anything, not using the sponge or anything anymore, which is what I'm going through. Semi-freeform, not twisting my hair, just let my hair do what it does. But freeform is when you absolutely do nothing to your hair but wash your hair and you let it form on its own, basically. You could get some really crazy variation, some really cool variation rather, and it's almost a guarantee that your dreadlocks will look one of a kind and your dreads won't look like anybody else. But a lot of people aren't bold enough to do this method because your hair is doing what it does and you're not touching or manipulating it in any way, so it's just going to do whatever it wants to do, and the way it locks up, that's just the way it locks up. And that's why people prefer to do methods like twisting with gel or sponging, and then after that they would stop maintaining their hair. But if you want that completely freeform look, then you should go 100% freeform. Do nothing but wash your hair. Don't comb your hair out, obviously, but do nothing but wash your hair, and your hair will start locking up and forming into dreads in its own distinct pattern. But if you have straight hair and you're like, man, I tried all these methods, they don't work, it's fine. There's methods for you as well. There is twist and rip method, which is where you twist your hair up and then you rip it down the middle and it will form knots. And you keep on twisting it and ripping it down the middle and it will form a dreadlock. You can also back comb. You take your hair, right? You get a comb and you start at the root and you just keep on pulling back until it starts clumping up. That also forms into dreadlocks, which those are instant dreadlock methods. But the thing about the methods that I mentioned beforehand, you know, brush, towel rub, sponge rub, twisting with gel or comb coils, and even 2-strand twists, those all take about 3 to 4 or possibly even 5 months to lock up, and possibly you don't even want to wait that long. But don't worry, there is one method that pretty much almost defeats them all, really, and I will almost say that this is the best dreadlock method. Why? Because you don't have to wait. You can get dreadlocks instantly. You can make them the thickness you want them and all that stuff pretty easily. And when you wake up, you could not have dreadlocks, but by the end of the day, you can have a full head of dreadlocks that looks like you've had them for years. What method am I talking about? None other than the crochet needle method, which is the instant dreadlock method. Now, you're like, how can this little tool get me dreadlocks? It's pretty simple. This is a really powerful thing. You will have to do things beforehand, like section out your hair the way you want it to. And the way a lot of people started out is they started out with comb coils or just coiling up their hair. And once their hair is coiled up, then their hair is sectioned off to the point where their hair is formed, but isn't locked up. How do you lock it up? And this goes for any other method too, if you want to lock up, if you want your hair to lock up faster. You take this tool, right? You grab your dread that's struggling to lock up, right? You take this tool, you start about 1/2 inch away from the root. And what do? You go into your hair, in and out, in and out, in and out, in and out. And you can do it pretty fast, but you just want to go in and out, in and out, in and out, all the way throughout the length of your hair. You want to start at like 1/2 inch away from the root and then work all the way down to the tip. Now, I also have a video on how to use this tool, and also other YouTubers have videos on how to use this tool. So just search up, how to use the crochet needle or how to get instant dreadlocks. Now, is it a very quick process? I would say to finish a dreadlock, yeah, it is. To finish a whole head, it's not a quick process. But just like anything takes time, and this may take about like 3 to maybe even 5 hours to finish your whole head. Maybe even more than that. Maybe you can split it up between days. But if you put it into perspective, you can save a whole 4 to 5 months, even possibly up to a year of waiting by just using this tool. And all the work will already be done. Your hair will already be locked up. You won't have to worry about it unraveling or anything. It's already locked up. If you don't want to go through the process, if you don't want to wait for y'all who just want dreads, then that's what y'all could do. But know that this is permanent, right? I mean, of course you can comb it out if you want to, but it will take a while, probably even equally as long to comb out your hair if you lock it up with this. So just be aware of that. But anyways, that's just my opinions of the best methods for each person's preference. If you like the video, please make sure to like it. If you want to see more videos from me in the future, please make sure to subscribe and turn on post notifications so y'all never miss out on another video from me in the future. And with that being said, I love you all, and I'll see you all in the next video.